Our topic today is biochemistry. Biochemistry is a combination between biology and chemistry. The chemistry, it refers to the chemical reactions, the chemical molecules inside your body as a human or a living organism. Okay, so the biology is the part of the living organisms, and the chemistry, the reactions that happen inside the living organisms. We have four biological macromolecule or like biomolecule building blocks. So those macromolecules, they are named the macromolecules that they are so big. They are large molecules. And also they are called polymers. What the meaning of polymers? That they are made up of a repetitive building unit. This building unit is called the monomer, and we'll be talking about the monomer of each of the biological macromolecules. Actually, we have four biological macromolecules. Number one is the nucleic acid, which is DNA and RNA. And again, we're gonna talk about them in a separate video. Number two is carbohydrates. Number three is lipids. Number four, the last one, is proteins. And we'll be having a separate video for each one of them, except the carbohydrates. Today we're gonna start the biochemistry. We're gonna talk about the biochemistry in details, and we're gonna talk about only the carbohydrate as a biological macromolecule. Now it's the question time. I just said, why do we call the four biological macromolecules that name, and why do we call them polymers? Actually, biological macromolecules, biological because it's in the human body or in the living organisms. Macromolecules, it refers to the big molecules. Okay, so macro means large, and the polymers refers to the repetitive identical units that it's when it's connected together, like bonded together, it will give the polymers. And the name of each one of them is a monomer. So the monomers together, or the repetitive identical units together, when it's bonded together, it will give the polymers. Here, when you look at the structure of the four macromolecules, you will find the majority of the elements, it's carbon. So the majority of their structure, it's from the carbon atoms. Now you know that carbon atom, it has four valence electrons. What the meaning of four valence electrons? That we have in the outermost energy level four electrons. They revolve around the nucleus. So those four valence electrons, they can form four covalent bonds. Here, just observe this structure that we have here, the carbon in the middle with the four valence electrons. Each of them will form with a hydrogen atom. It will form a covalent bond. So collectively, there are four covalent bonds in that CH4 structure. Okay? And all the molecules that the major component or the major element is carbon, it is called the carbon-based molecules. Okay? We can call them organic molecules. So the organic molecules, they are carbon-based molecules, or the majority of their structure is carbon. Here we have three molecules, actually protein molecules. How can I differentiate between them? Actually, the majority of the protein may be carbon. As we said, it's a carbon-based molecule. We said the four macromolecules, biological macromolecules, they are carbon-based molecules. So the majority is carbon, with bonded with some hydrogen, maybe some oxygen, and so on. So how can I differentiate between them? How can I know that this is this protein and this is the other one and this is the another protein and so on? We can differentiate between different molecules even if all of them are the same category, as all of them are proteins. We can differentiate between them by those functional groups. So basically proteins, all of them are made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. So we can differentiate between different protein molecules by the you know functional groups. Number one is carboxyl group. The carboxyl group is carbon connected to, like, by bond to the oxygen, then single bond to an oxygen and hydrogen. Amino group is nitrogen, two single bonds between, like, nitrogen and hydrogen. The hydroxyl group, it's only OH. The phosphate group, the P in the middle, phosphate in the middle, connected to four oxygen. Carboxyl carbonyl group, it's carbon double bond oxygen. We have a lot of different functional group, but I just grabbed some examples to show you some of the functional groups. I'm gonna explain now how can I form a big polymer from small monomers. So just to remind you, what is monomer? It's the repeated identical small building units bonded together to give a big polymer. So here I'll just explain that when I remove water, OH from one monomer and the H from the other monomer, I can just form a bond and give the polymer. So here I have one polymer, the second polymer. I just removed here OH. I remove here H, okay? And water will be released. Water will be released to connect them by a bond, okay? So this is dehydration. Dehydration, because actually when we don't drink enough water, we'll be dehydrated, okay? It's like if you don't like drink enough water for a long time, or you didn't drink water at all for a long time, you will get dehydrated. So it's the same, that because we removed water, they call this process dehydration. The opposite of dehydration, the hydrolysis. Here we have the hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is adding water. So I'll add water. I already removed water to form a bond, to bond the monomers together. I'll do the opposite. I'll add water, so I'll add OH in one monomer. I'll break the bond, adding OH in one monomer and the H to the other monomer. So I can break down the bond. Each monomer will be released. So now I had the polymer, the opposite. I had the polymer, I broke down all the bonds to release again the monomers here. So I added OH to that one. I added now dehydration, I removed H2O. Hydrolysis, now I added H2O. I added OH to that side, H to that side to break down the bond. So this monomer is released and the other monomer is released. The first biological macromolecule, we're going to start with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, we can just replace the word carbohydrates with sugar. So any sugar, sweets you eat, just it's carbohydrates. So the carbs are sugar, sweets, um, what else? Rice, pasta, um, bread. So all of these are made of monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharide, which is sugar. So saccharide is so close to the word sugar. So any saccharide, when you see this, this part, you know that it's sugar. And again, how can I separate, along? So this is a monomer, a monosaccharide. It's the monomer of the carbohydrate. And this is another monomer. Now, when I add water, I'll be breaking down the bond between them and releasing the monomers, breaking down the bonds between the monomers to release them. And the opposite, when I remove water, now I remove OH from that side and the H from that side. So when I remove water, I'll have a bond between them. So I connected the monomers to give polymer. Now we're going to classify carbohydrates. Here we have three categories of carbohydrates: monosaccharide, mono, disaccharide, di, and polysaccharide. Mono means one, so one sugar molecule. It's the monomer of the carbohydrates. This sugar molecule can be a ring, like the one we saw in the previous slide, a ring, or maybe a straight chain. Okay, so the carbon in the middle, and it's called the carbon skeleton, the carbon in the middle, and it is surrounded by, like, bonded to different, maybe carbon, maybe oxygen. Okay, and some examples of monosaccharides, it's glucose and fructose. Fructose actually is the sugar in fruits. The function of this monosaccharide, actually it's a simple sugar. So it's the easiest way and the fastest way for your cell whenever it needs energy to get energy easily. And we have to know that the simple sugar is soluble. That's why it's easy somehow. And it tastes sweet. So when you taste sugar and it's sweet, it's a simple sugar. When you taste sugar and it's not sweet, it's a polysaccharide. Okay, so go to your kitchen and find the starch. You will find it's insoluble and it's not sweet. Number two, the second one is disaccharide. It means, like, from the name, it means like two monosaccharides are hooked together to give one disaccharide. The two examples we have a lot, of course, but I just grabbed two examples: sugar and maltose. Sugar, the sucrose sugar and maltose sugar. Sucrose sugar, it is glucose and fructose, they are bonded together. So as we said, two monosaccharides bonded together. And here we have the maltose, it's two glucose bonded together. Sucrose, the sugar that you use on daily basis, the one you find in your kitchen, and you add to your sugar, you add to your cup of tea, for example. And maltose, it's the malt, Barbican, those products, the malt products. The last one is polysaccharide. We said it's many. Poly means many, so many monosaccharides are hooked together, and it can be like thousands, hundreds or thousands of monosaccharides. I'll give you some examples. Starch. The starch you can find in the plant cell, and it's actually thousands of glucose connected together. The same is glycogen. Glycogen is again, it's like glucose, thousands of them, they are connected together, but in the animal cell. Both of them, they are energy storage. So they are insoluble and they are perfect for storing some energy aside. Like you have extra money and you just put them aside till you need them, you will just get them back and break them down to get whatever you want. So it's insoluble. The cell will just put them aside till it needs them. It will break them down to get again monosaccharide, glucose, to get energy. Number 3, cellulose. Cellulose, it's in the cell wall. If you remember the cell organelles, so the carbohydrates, you can see them in the cell structure. Chitin, the last one in the crustaceans. You know the shrimp, the exoskeleton, it is composed from sugar, carbohydrates again. To connect what we studied with our real life, these are towels and they are made of cotton. This is the perfect material for towels, for just making towels. Why? Because they are made of plants, which is cotton, and the cotton, the cell walls of the cotton, it's mainly cellulose. The cellulose is water absorbent, and this is perfect for a towel to absorb water efficiently. Thank you so much for watching, and just wait for the next video. It's lipids. Thank you.